Welcome to Morally Corrupt, the show here on the Ringer Reality Feed. I'm Rachel Lindsay. She is Chelsea Stark-Jones. Let's get into the news of the week. Finally. It's more like a finally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, right on time for as we're reevaluating one of these franchises. It's like the timing, I don't care what came out with it, the timing seems to be calculated. And what I'm talking about is Dorit filing for divorce.
Yes. I mean, Dorit, she was calculated with her timing of the separation. It happened in the off season when people were like, is she going to come back? Is she demoted to a friend of? And then she filed for separation and there we go. But I mean, yeah, you'll get into it.
Yeah, so Dorit filed for divorce from PK. It's been 10 years. If you watch this past season, that was a whole thing where Erica was like, he's trying to divorce you before 10 years because that changes spousal support. It changes the way things are split. After 10 years, I think you get unlimited. Like, there's no time capping your spousal support.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, anything can be negotiated and settled, but if it's
Yeah.
before 10 years, it's half the time you were together in California. If it's after 10 years, it's a different story.
Okay.
But when did Dorit move to California? Because they weren't always here. It doesn't matter. I got married in Florida. It doesn't matter. I got married in Florida, and California laws still applied.
Oh, wow.
Most of our marriage was spent here. This is where he filed the divorce.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, just on its face, it's like, oh, the news came out, the pictures came out, the PK was seen kissing another woman in New York. The woman's name is Shayna Wall or Shauna Wall, I'm not quite sure.
Not familiar
She
with
was
her.
on The Amazing Race. She's a blonde woman, looks very similar to Dorit. They just happened to be caught kissing in the street. I think maybe even holding hands. So on its face, it looks like Dorit saw that, had enough, said, clearly PK is moving on. I'm filing for divorce.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think it was in a reaction to this Shayna Wall makeout session, or was this something she was planning to do and then maybe saw this and was like, yeah, I can no longer be played as a fool?
I think a little bit of both, maybe. I think that she already had her lawyer in waiting. I think she already had the paperwork ready to go and was just looking for the correct time to pull the trigger. She probably was always going to do it before this next season to kind of have the cameras follow along. But this just gives more to it. And I think that part of it is that she also doesn't want to look like Kyle. Kyle, we continuously see Mauricio with other women.
Yep.
They're still separated. Kyle has to work that out and that emotion, on camera. And I think Dorit is a little bit more final with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point where it's like she doesn't want to look. I mean, Kyle, Kyle kind of looks like a fool. They look silly, like still playing along with whatever the separation is. And Dorit, as she said on the reunion stage, which kind of surprised me that she still has feelings for PK and she still loves him. And that she sounded like she would want to make things work, but it's very obvious.
Easier.
Yeah, that he is not there. And then he posted something on his Instagram.
I didn't even know PK had an Instagram.
Yeah, he posted something along the lines of it's always the victim, pretty much saying that she's making herself out to be the victim when she caused all of this.
I'm sure she is making herself out to be the victim,
Yeah.
and you just gave her the ammo and
To
the
do
ability
so.
to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it is interesting that she is asking the court to grant her sole legal and physical custody of their two children. If you watch the season, she's said PK's never around. He only sees them on Saturdays, and that's when he's in town.
When she said that at the Saturday nights, Saturday evenings, so for dinner, and then he hits the town, what, I don't know, it doesn't surprise me that she asked for it. It would surprise me if he fought for it, because then I think if it's true what she's saying, that he barely is ever around to see the kids, and if he's fighting for more time with them, I think that's his way of taking a dig at her.
He'll fight for more time.
Yeah.
He'll do it just to do it, even if he doesn't actually fight it. But when he responds to this and he files his paperwork, which he has time to respond, I think 30 days, unless he asks for a continuance to respond and they agree on it, he will ask for custody as well. And, Dorit's also asking for spousal support. She's asking for him to pay her legal fees. It'll be interesting. There's been a lot of rumors too about PK going bankrupt, not having the money that he puts himself out there to have. So all their finances are going to be out. I hope for their sake and for their children's and the future of that they decide to do it privately. They get their own judge and that they don't make this public.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's going to end up being the case or not.
Yeah, I don't think I see that happening. What surprised me was Jagger and Phoenix are 11 and 9, and I remember when those little guys were
I
babies.
know. I
I
do
was I
too.
was kind of shook by that. Yeah, I don't foresee them doing this quietly for some reason. I kind of feel like it's gonna get a little messy.
Well, I think PK will have to fight it publicly because unless he wants to hide something, I think he's going to have to
Mm,
fight it publicly because she's going to have so much access to
to making her own narrative.
right with
Yeah,
the cameras.
yeah,
Unless he decides he wants to be filmed as well, which I'm sure Bravo would be more than happy to have that.
yeah. Have him back on in some capacity. I kind of was expecting to see more of him and Mauricio
Mm,
throughout the season when they filmed a little bit at the beginning, and I thought we'd see a little
I
bit more
did
of
too.
them again, but we only got like one dinner with
I
them
don't
or
think
something.
Mauricio wants to film.
I don't blame him.
And I don't think PK was going to do anything without Mauricio,
Yeah. I mean,
especially when all the stuff came out. He doesn't want to be on camera.
oh no. I mean, I would have loved to see the girls, the daughters, give him a tongue lashing after those Mykonos photos, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
Well, they're not done. They got their work cut out for them
Yeah.
because that was just the first of
That
many.
was.
In other news, Paige was on Watch What Happens Live, which I didn't realize she hadn't been on because we've been talking about them so much. And I
Yeah.
also didn't realize that people were so excited about this. I mean, the publicity that Paige and Hannah are having right now is definitely unmatched. I haven't seen this with a Bravo star since Ariana
Mm-hmm.
or any really reality star like this
Mm-hmm.
in a while. They are building an empire. I saw that they announced that they're having some show that's coming out. I don't know if it's just a YouTube show. They're announcing it on YouTube. I don't know if that's where it'll live, but there's some show which I hope it's more builds off of the Giggly Squad brand. I don't want to watch a reality show with them. I think I may have said before I did. I don't think I do. Not because I dislike them, just because they're building their own empire
Yeah.
outside of reality
Yeah.
TV, and I kinda wanna see them continue to go through that.
Yeah.
I don't wanna see a lifestyle show with them, but that's just my personal opinion. But I'll be honest with you, wasn't moved by the Watch What Happens Live appearance. I didn't think we got anything new. I didn't think Paige was herself. She was witty, she took jabs, she was sarcastic, she was Paige. That was great, but I was like, "Okay, save it for
Yeah.
the reunion."
Which they shot like the very next day. So, yeah, I think that I enjoyed seeing her on the show. And the biggest takeaway is that she says everything Craig said was a lie. I loved her denying that she never suggested getting married at BravoCon, which
Yeah.
anyone with a brain would have known that that was false. But what did she say? Like, do I look like the kind of girl that would have convention center in my wedding invite? Like, very Paige, very, very funny. Yeah, I feel like people really want this breakup to be that of Scandival caliber. And it just isn't. It got messy for a second. They're seemingly both in their own separate spaces. And like, that's fine. Like, there was no big cheating scandal. There was no bit, like, they just were in different places. They wanted different things. And as we're seeing it play out on Summer House, Paige was very, very disengaged in the relationship. And
Mhm.
Craig was not picking up on that. And I think she even said, was it 2 episodes ago, where it was just like, I'm not going to make any big decisions before my tour.
Yeah.
And the tour happened and they broke up at the
Mhm.
end. So it was like she was very much, and it's on Craig for not seeing it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did think was interesting, and this was on the after show, was her comments about Madison. Because Madison was like, when she was on Watch What Happens Live, said that she hasn't heard from Paige and that she reached out. Paige didn't like congratulate her on her pregnancy, anything like that. And Paige says she hasn't talked to her because Madison, before her and Craig broke up, was talking behind her back, and she
Mhm.
thought they were friends. And so that kind of made me sad because I did like the two of them together as like
Yeah.
friends, but
I
like
don't know if it made
also,
me sad, but
I
but
feel things, Rachel.
it made me sad, but it was like they were fun
They were
together.
fun together, but like it also makes sense. Like in a friendship breakup, you lose, or in a relationship breakup, you lose some friends, and it, she's in a different part of the country. So
Yeah.
like I understand them no longer being friendly or friends anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like everyone wants to make this what Scandival was, and it's just not.
It
The makings of that don't exist.
Yeah, it's just two different stories. They see things two different ways. And, it's easy. We all do it. I think it's human nature. You become a bit of a revisionist as you've taken the rose colored glasses off and, your emotions aren't wrapped up in it the same way. And you see things for what they are, void of the emotion. And
Mhm.
so you're able to look at it through a different lens. And Craig believes their relationship was one thing and ended because of that. And Paige is something different.
Yeah.
And the more they talked, the more it was obvious that they were on different pages, which we said last season when we
Yeah.
watched the two of them
Yeah.
together. But that's when they were all caught up in it and they just weren't ready. And you see Paige struggling with that now. She's just like, I'm not ready. And she's thinking of all the wrong reasons to stay, but you can tell she wants to leave. And
Mhm.
then Craig's just his head is in the clouds. So he just doesn't see it that way.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get more of this. We're gonna get more Paige and Craig news because the reunion is coming up. But I hope after this, like things die down. I personally, I don't think that whatever Giggly Squad is announcing this tonight. So by the time you guys hear this, it'll always already be announced.
Hmm.
I don't think it's gonna be an unscripted thing, but like I do want to see more Paige, and I know in my heart of hearts, she's probably not returning next season to Summer House. She's just so much bigger than the show. But I think I've enjoyed her the most this season. So like not having her on again is gonna be like I will be sad. um, but I would like to see her in some capacity outside of just following her on Instagram. Like I enjoy her life, her lifestyle, her wit and stuff. Like so I hope there's a way that I could still catch some of that, but I don't think she's going to return.
I could see her returning maybe in a part-time way, and I think her not being there because she needed a day off
Mhm.
was kind of alluding to what may happen.
Mhm.
I see the pros and the cons for her not coming back just for her.
Mhm.
I think it's a pro because for people who aren't, like, drowning in Paige content, like, I don't follow Paige on Instagram, I don't listen to Giggly Squad, but I like Paige, and I enjoy watching her in the Bravo setting.
Mhm.
But I like her. I'm just not a diehard fan where I've
Mhm.
taken the extra, step to follow her in other ways. So I think it's a pro for her for people like me that are a fan who like to see her in this way. I think it's a pro for her that she can also exhibit more of her personality,
Mhm.
might lead to other opportunities. She can show off her fashion in certain ways, again, for people who don't follow her on Instagram and podcasting. Like, as a person who more so my primary job is podcasting and I take gigs here and there is a benefit being lost from being on a television screen
Mhm.
every single day.
Mhm.
So I think it could be a con for her to, like, step away from that and lose those things.
Mhm.
It would be also a pro for her because then if you do like her, then you're forced to follow her on
Mhm.
platforms that she's in control with, that she is able to monetize,
Yeah.
and maybe they're doing that through a new show too.
Yeah, maybe. I just like I haven't gotten past the Hannah burner of it all. Like I'm still not a big fan of Hannah.
Oh,
So
I follow Hannah on
oh,
Instagram.
see, and I follow Paige. So I guess I'm more of the Page of the Giggly Squad. But like, yeah, I haven't broke or breached whatever that. So I don't know if she leaves if I would follow elsewhere because I just don't find Hannah to be as funny and likable as most people do. Which is just not my flavor. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. The reunion was shot, what, last week? Wait,
Mm-hmm.
this week? This past week?
This past
Last
week.
week. Sorry. It's Tuesday when you're listening to this. Yeah, last week. Seating charts out. No shockers there. Nothing crazy. The
Uh
girls are at the front. They should be. The girls are the story this season. So,
I would have done a few things differently. Carl being so on the left side of the couch, it's Paige, Sierra, Carl, Lexi, Gabby. I think I would have swapped Carl and Lexi because like I don't know Carl. Why is Carl? I don't know.
I think they wanted to put Carl and Sierra next to each other because of what is supposed to come out.
Her turning him down.
And Carl seems to be more comfortable next to Sierra.
Yeah, I guess. And on the other side of the couch, Amanda, Kyle, Lindsay, Jesse, West, and Imrul. And again, I would have switched Jesse and Lindsay because
Well,
Lindsay didn't. As much as I love a pregnant Lindsay, she was,
it's a hierarchy.
it
Imagine
definitely
how it would
was.
look if Carl was after Lexi. Imagine how it would look if Lindsay was after, I don't remember
Jesse.
was after Jesse.
But
Yeah.
like
It's a
they didn't
hierarchy.
give. They didn't give this
It's a
season.
hierarchy.
I don't know. I
What do you mean?
think
Lindsay gave us a life
I know who am I?
as a
What
as
am
a
I
pregnant
saying?
woman.
Who? Oh
Yes.
my gosh, Chelsea, get on board. Again, I loved watching Lindsay this season. I think a pregnant Lindsay is a great Lindsay, but like I don't know. I'm more intrigued by the Lexi and Jesse of it all. Like I think they deserve to be above Lindsay and Kyle in their one fight that they had at the dinner table, which was a misunderstanding that lasted 5 seconds.
I hope I'm wrong, but I think at the reunion we're going to get nothing with Lexi and Jesse. I think Jesse is going to pull a West where
Oh, and just be
he
quiet.
doesn't have a lot to say. He knows he looks bad. I hope I'm wrong. I don't see him going in there and defending himself full out. I don't see him contradicting the things Lexi says happen off camera or the conversations he had with the women. I think he's just going to bite the bullet. I think West is probably going to tell him that, even though West should be like, look how bad it went for me. You should do something different. But
Yeah.
I just don't, even in interviews right now, Jesse's just kind of like, Lexi's a great girl.
Yeah, I think he's trying to play it safe. I don't think he's going to go full West. I do think that he's going to try to be as apologetic as possible, but not a mute, which was West. West didn't even know how to form a sentence
No,
last year.
no,
So I
no.
think Jesse
He
knows
short
better
circuited.
than that. Like I think he's going to come prepared with, I'm going to have a lot of attention. I'm going to have to figure this out. I think he's going to say everything that he thinks he should say. Yeah, I think he cares too much about public perception, which is kind of what like one of her
Well,
page 6
that's why I
things.
think he's going to say Lexi's a great girl, and I'm sad it didn't work out the way that it did. And you're entitled to feel that, Lexi. I'm not going to take away from the fact of how you feel. That's fine, Lexi, but I want more, but I'm preparing myself for the worst, which is a Jesse who just rolls over and is like, mistakes were made. I don't think I was ready
Yeah, I mean,
for what
what do you want more? Like, what could he say that would satisfy you? That like, yeah,
I
I'm a
want
fuck
him
boy,
to.
and like I
No, no. She's gonna come in and say, you told me these things and you introduced me to your family and you did this. And I want him to explain why he did those things.
yeah,
I want him to answer to some of the things he said to the girls or even the guys when Lexi wasn't around.
yeah,
Why did you say that? Explain yourself. That's what I want. I don't want him to be a fuckboy. I don't need that. We got
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
I want you to reason your actions or at least try to.
yeah.
We deserve that.
Which okay, so I put this in the outline last minute, but Andy after the reunion got together with the boys of Summer House, all except for Emerald,
Mhm.
and part of me doesn't think we'll get a hard going at Jesse because of the way that Andy always seems to soften things with the boys of
Mhm.
these casts. And like, I was surprised to see them all together post reunion
Why?
with Andy.
Why?
Because Andy likes to try to play neutral.
Oh, but not with the boys.
But to be so public with it, I think is what like kind of took me aback. It's like we know that he likes to have like he has favoritism towards the boys with Southern Charm and the Craigs and the Sheps of it all, with Summer House, Kyle, whatever. Like, but to go out to dinner and take a photo and for it to be posted, like that to me was a little bit like, okay, Andy, like so I don't think Jesse's gonna get hammered hard because of the sole fact that Andy just loves to be one of the guys.
I don't know. I didn't think of it that way. I mean, I saw the photo and I was like, par for the course. Andy loves the boys. He likes being one of the boys in the group with them. I've seen it in real life when I've
Yeah.
gone to Bravo events and Andy hangs with the boys. He seems to have a special relationship with them and especially like I think this is something that was brought together by Kyle.
Mhm.
And I think Kyle and Andy have a real relationship, it seems like.
Yeah.
And that's 10 years in at this point. So I think Kyle probably orchestrated it. I think Andy has a real soft spot for Carl for all the things that Carl has gone through on this season. And then there's Jesse and West.
Who are
I would
just
have been
fun.
I could have seen this just being Carl, Andy, and Kyle. So
Yeah.
this didn't surprise me and it didn't make me think that we're going to get one thing or another at the reunion. I think Jesse's gonna do that himself. I think Jesse's just gonna be like, she's a great girl, and I made some mistakes along the way, but the truth is I wanted you. This is what I would say, if I was trying to manipulate it. I'd be like, "The truth is I wanted you, and I didn't know how to navigate wanting you and wanting to be with you, but also knew that I wasn't necessarily this summer in a place to fully commit, and I called it wrong. I wanted to exclusively commit to you. I tried to do my best, but you can clearly see that I made some mistakes along the way, and for that I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for what I said. Oh my God, I could let me write the
Write the
script.
playbook. And as I said, like another thing missing from that photo though was Imrul. So Cece loves you, an Instagram account, I guess DM'd Imrul and was like, why weren't you in this photo? And he replies, he said, I left early a few hours before they wrapped, so that's part of it. She says part of it, so not all of it. Or he goes, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna chalk it up to that and move on. It's all good. I'm so glad I did it and got some publicity and a platform for my English school. That was always my big goal in all of this. So the first thing, him leaving early. I thought Emerald was a main cast member. So him leaving before they wrapped gives me friend of vibes
Mhm.
when he was in the full cast photo. So that's interesting to me. And I know you and Callie talked about Emerald a couple weeks ago of just like not understanding what the big deal is with him bringing girls home and how like that's what the summer house is about. I kind of see it from a different POV. And I don't know if this is how it truly played out in the summer or how they're framing it on the show. But like for me watching as a fan, like all I know about Emerald is that he likes to sleep around and go to sex parties. I'm not seeing him
Mhm.
engage with any of the other cast
Yeah.
members or talk about anything else outside of his sex capades.
Mhm.
And so to me, like I get why they're like, stop fucking around and like maybe hang out with us, like get to know us better. Let's get to know you better or whatever. And maybe that's happening. And the show is just framing him to be this sex, you know, addict or whatever, but like, or lover. But like, he's just so one dimensional in the show that it's
Mhm.
frustrating for me as a viewer of like, I want more. Like, and show me the girls. Show, like, why aren't we seeing these
For
girls,
sure.
um, coming in? Like, I don't need to hear them talking to you or talking with other housemates, but I at least want to see like what your type is, like who you're bringing home.
For sure. White.
Yeah, well, yes.
Um No, 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 no. I agree with you. We talked about that as well about like show more of him. There's got to be more to him. And we get a sneak peek when, he talks about being an immigrant and how I don't know if I read this part off air or not, but like where I don't know if he talked about this on the show or I just read it somewhere, but he says, I lived in the shadows for such a long
Yeah, he
time.
said it on the show.
Okay, I lived in the shadows for such a long time as an immigrant that now I want to live out loud in a big way. And how, he was in this committed relationship and he was married and now he wants to do something different. That was giving us a sneak peek. He talked about learning English and he talked about his school. So that was something. But I do think that is not what they wanted us to see of him because then
Mhm.
it waters down some of the other things. Everybody is cast to play a certain role.
Yeah.
Not quite sure what Gabby's is. Right now, she's a token to me. That's how I'm not saying she's acting like that. I'm saying
That's how
she's
they're framing her.
yeah, like
Yeah.
she's just another person of color on the cast because
Mhm.
we see nothing from Gabby. I think it was Queens of Bravo. I'm gonna give them credit because I give them credit for everything that where they put the tweet up that somebody wrote that like it was like the front door got more screen time
Then Gabby.
than
Yeah.
Gabby. We
Yeah.
don't see anything about her. Even to the point where when she does pop up, in my mind, I'm like, was that necessary? Because there's no full story with Gabby.
Yeah.
We don't see her in the city. We don't really see her that much driving there. She
Yeah.
seems to always come on her own or she's late or she's like like it's just it's very incomplete and I just don't think that it's fair. And if she's not bringing it, then don't bring her back.
Yeah.
Just give us one or the other.
I think that's fair. I think to counter, like, at least the difference that I see with her, and Emerald is that she does seem to have genuine relationships with people in the house. And granted, this is what her third summer here, so like, I would hope she would have relationships with people in the house. This is Emerald's first, but yeah, like, why the both of them? We don't see either of them in the city. We don't. ever. Like, I
Like,
don't
why
think.
is she not baby shopping with Lindsay? Why are we watching Paige baby shop with
Yeah.
Lindsay? Are she and Lindsay not as close? Because we know Paige and Lindsay are close now.
Well, and I mean, like, her and Lindsay are, like, I see on Instagram, she's with Lindsay and her baby and stuff like that. So it's like they do have a relationship, but why aren't we seeing more of it?
Yeah.
And I know it's like how many people are on this cast? Like 9, 10. So like, I know it's a big cast, but yeah, we should be seeing a little
Yeah.
bit more. Tom Schwartz has had more screen time than
Tom
Gabby.
Schwartz has, right? And his suitcase. But I will say, I think Imrul was cast to play a certain role, and that was
Mhm.
to tap into the days of old Summer House,
Yeah.
where people bring random people home. They're intimate with them. Of course, then they didn't cover up the cameras or cover up their faces,
Yeah.
and then they go home.
Yeah.
And that's the itch that he's scratching. He's there to be a party person. That's it. He goes out with the boys, some of the girls. Every night he's there, parties, comes back. That's it. That's the role he's there to play.
And he's the only one that's playing that role too, which I think also like makes it feel weirder or
Right.
like out of place.
For sure.
So no one else is bringing, and Wes is hiding it. Whoever he's talking to when he's out on the town, he's hiding it. So yeah.
Okay, well, in other news, we got a premiere of a new show this week, Love Hotel, after it's been teased for a really long time, even
Mhm.
when they weren't trying to. Joe Kim Booster.
Yep.
It premiered on Sunday.
Yep.
We saw Luann de Lesseps, Ashley Darby, Giselle Bryan, and Shannon Bedore all enter this place, this luxurious hotel in Cabo, in order to find love. And I haven't watched it yet. You haven't watched it.
I plan to, but yes.
She plans to. So we're not going to do a recap here. Also, that's not what the show is about. You know, we like to do something a little fun each week based on what's going on in the Bravo sphere. So we thought it would be fun to put together our dream cast of our Love Hotel with some of our favorite singles on Bravo, men and women.
Mhm.
So I would say pick maybe 2 or 3
Okay.
of the leads that you'd want in the hotel for men and then the hotel for women.
For women. Okay. Interesting. Well, let's see. I'm not a dating show fan.
I'm
so-
not either, really. I'm not.
So I
I'm
don't
not watching.
know I don't know if I would like this format of a dating show. Like I more so want to see these people have fun and then like be put out in social situations. So I'm gonna go with Sierra and Paige. Because I think they'd be good wing women for one another.
Mhm.
And then this is where it gets a little rough because it's like an age difference. Maybe Garcelle, because then she could be like the mentor to the younger Paige and
Okay.
and Sierra. She's level-headed and like they could bring out the younger youthful side of her and she will give them great like sound advice as someone who has been married and lived through it and dated really successful, good-looking celebrity men.
Okay.
So those would be my 3 women: Sierra, Paige, and Garcelle. For the men, Andy. I think Andy Cohen.
Okay.
I think that would be great. And then let's go Craig. Actually, maybe Shep, not Craig. Shep. Andy and Shep, because Shep will get a little messy. I feel like Craig.
Oh, we've already seen his show.
Oh, he did have a dating show, didn't he?
Mhm. See, you didn't watch.
I didn't watch.
So you wouldn't watch this one.
I wouldn't. Yeah, Craig would just be too like he would care a little bit too much about his appearance. I think he'd be too calculated. And I don't really want to see Carl date. Like we saw him with Lemur Girl and that wasn't fun. So I think I just want to show with Andy.
You just want to show with Andy. Fair.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. I would watch an Andy Cohen dating
That's
show
all.
for sure. Okay, for me, for the women, I would choose Sierra, Dorit, and Brittany. And
Okay.
I choose Brittany because she's a hot mess and she's
Mhm.
going to think she's going to want the other men that want other women because she's can't help herself.
Mhm.
We're not going to get any truth out of her, so it's going to be messy. And I think she's just going to be delusional about the guys that like her and that don't like her. So
Mhm.
I think that'll be really entertaining. I want Sierra because I think Sierra's a tough, like, what's the saying, cookie to crack? Is that
Nut to crack.
I always get these sayings wrong.
Nut to crack.
She's a tough nut to crack, and so it would be interesting to see her navigate it, and if her walls come down,
Yeah.
then it's like kinda what we did see on Summer House. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, she's really into it." I'd want Dorit because I think Dorit would think that she's above it all, and she'd
Yes.
be wondering while she's here, why is she here? But she also needs that check. And so she would be so rude and so to the men, but you're here, Dorit. It's almost like she'd forget that she was on this show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, how did I get here? I'm trapped, but you're not. You
Yeah.
signed the contract.
Yeah.
That's the kind of energy I want.
Okay.
For the men, I'm going with PK and Mauricio.
Oh, okay.
I want a show with them.
You want to see older men that have hit their midlife crisis
Yes.
dating younger women.
Well, I would hope that, they're going to get a slew of women. So,
Okay.
hopefully other divorced women, single moms.
Okay.
So you throw in a couple of young ones to throw them off. All of that. I want all of it.
See, this is
Some older. And I think, I really think this is where dating shows should move towards more relatable. Like, I want the person in their 30s and 40s, maybe 50s, before we get to reach Golden Bachelor era, to date. I want to see them. I want to see them navigate this new world of dating, never having used apps, setting up their profile, messing up, maybe hopping on the wrong app because they just don't, I've heard of Grindr, but I'm not quite sure what that is. Like that kind of mess. That's what I
Yeah.
want to see. I want to see them be awkward in dating. I do want to see them go on a date with a young person. And PK, can you imagine, starts talking about boy George, and they're like, I'm sorry, do you have a son named George? Like, there's a boy named, I want to see the disconnect be from the generations. Like, that's entertaining to me. Love Hotel is not meant to find true love.
No.
It's meant to be a hot mess. And that's why I've cast these people in my dream hotel, because it could be called Hot Mess Hotel.
So my first thought with Mauricio and PK was yes, even if they are given women of a respectful age, they're still going to go for the younger woman. But I did just Google Shayna Wall, and she is 50 according to the internet.
But she looks like Dorit.
She does look like Dorit.
Like, he's definitely doing that to get at Dorit too.
But she is a woman of a respectable age that he should be dating. So maybe he would be searching for someone that is of an appropriate age bracket for him. But yeah, I think it would be so rough and cringy to see Mauricio, because even though he would be given women that have been married and divorced before, he's going for the late 20s, early 30-year-old women.
And it would be such good TV.
It's so cringy.
And then we could have a deeper conversation about why these older men feel they're entitled to these younger women, and why these younger women feel like they need a daddy, and can the real thing be out there, and why, and what happens to the woman in the middle? Think about it. We love to talk about it in a deeper way. That'd be so
Look,
good.
I don't hate the idea of it.
So good. It'll never happen.
It just kind of stresses me out.
Yeah, these men like to move in the shadows.
In the shadows, yes.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that, our dream shows. Let us know who you would pick as your dream cast to be a part of the Love Hotel, and what you think about ours. That is it for us here on our news version of Morally Corrupt. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to join us Friday, where we are recapping the shows that are on Bravo. So you don't want to miss that. And we're not going to do Love Hotel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that. Not on Friday. Maybe in the future, but not on Friday.
Are you going to watch?
No.
You're not going to watch?
But that doesn't mean that, I can't
partake in a conversation or two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be curious. That's how I got into Summer House. I turned into Summer House. I didn't watch it, but you guys did, and I had to participate in the conversation, and I was like, you know what?
Let me dabble.
Let me give this a try.
Yeah, my mom said it was good, so she's been pretty spot on with all of her Bravo recs for me.
All right.
So.
Well, there you go. There you go. We've got one 5-star review.
Listen to Mom.
One. All right, guys. Take care. Have a beautiful week, and we'll see you on Friday.